I call that they don't like to see you winning. They wanna see you in a penitentiary. I need me a little baby who gon' listen. Girl, I don't wanna be the one you ignorant. My mama told me, boy, make a decision.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Clutch Talk podcast /YouTube/ We Do It All. As always, I am your host, John. Very happy to be here. Jenner, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good. Appreciate having me on. Being on here is a lot of fun. Looking forward. Couldn't be at the last hidden takes, unfortunately, but happy to be on this one and ready to get cracking.
Let's do this, man. So let's get straight to it because today we got a special segment in our hidden takes today. We're gonna do some games here. I seen this NBA Finals trivia. It was this NBA Finals trivia quiz that it said every NBA fan should know these 5 questions. So we're gonna put our skills to the test here.
Okay,
but
I'm excited.
That's for later. Let's jump into the first task on the agenda here, Jenner. So yesterday I'm watching the Wizards versus Lakers game, and I'm watching Bradley Beal. I'm like, man, like Bradley Beal is a great player, but I thought to myself, he's had 2 great duos with him, whether it's been Westbrook and whether you want to call that great or not. I think those are 2 great individual players. Maybe they're not the greatest together, but those are 2 great individual players. And he's had John Wall. Again, maybe they're not the best together, but individually, they're 2 great players.
Pretty good players.
My question to you, Junior, is who do you think is the better teammate, Beal, for Beal?
Well, I mean, you mean in terms of fit, or who's the better player overall between Westbrook and Wall?
Answer both. Let's go in terms of fit at first, and then who's a better player overall. But in terms of fitting for Bradley Beal, who do you think is a better fit for him?
It's tough. Honestly, I kind of want to say. See, at first I wanted to say Wall, but as I thought about it, Russell Westbrook is also a pretty good, facilitator, and he's also not a very good shooter. So he's not going to be, he's not going to be drawing out defenders. He's going to be banging in the paint, allowing Beal to be out in the perimeter. So at first I said Wall. In the beginning, when the trade went down, I also said Wall. But I'm thinking it might actually be Russell Westbrook. I think maybe now that I saw him be able to kind of complement their games a little bit more, I think I'm going to go with Russell Westbrook. And then who's better between the 2? For me, it's no doubt Russell Westbrook. He's better now. He's better career-wise. He's just a better player overall, in my opinion. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely would go with Russell Westbrook. I feel like, honestly, the NBA media just gives Russell Westbrook this bad rap of this player who he can't be played with. But people are forgetting that when he's averaging a triple-double, he's averaging 10 assists. He's getting people. Yeah, he's getting people involved. So I understand that he has his bad rap, and sometimes he gets in his tunnel vision mode and just takes a lot of bad shots. And I understand, but all that can be fixed. But let's not forget the fact that he's averaging the 10 assists, so he is getting other people involved. So I definitely think that is a trait that Westbrook has that people sleep on, man. So
yeah,
I came to the conclusion that I think Westbrook is definitely a better teammate for Beal because, like I was talking about the other day, like it sets him up for success. Right. Westbrook can set him up into the position where all Beal has to do is get there and he just catches the ball in rhythm, and that's a bucket.
Boom, bang, bang, bang.
All right, so let's go to the next topic on the agenda. Jenna, I've been seeing a lot of talk about this, man. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. I think it might be too much of a stretch, but CP3 for MVP? I don't know,
tough.
man. That's tough. But I don't know.
There's other players I'd put before him, to be honest.
There's too many other players for me to be able to seriously consider him.
I'm saying like not even like the Embiids and the LeBrons and the Jokic's before him. I'm talking about like there's other fringe players I put before him, like Julius Randle. I'd probably give it to Julius Randle before I gave it to CP3 if I had to give it to one of those 2 guys. You know what I mean? But I could definitely see the shout still. But nah, I don't think we could say CP3. I think there's other arguments that can be made for a lot of other players before we could get to CP3. Not knocking them, but there's just that many good players in the league right now, you know?
Definitely. That's exactly how I feel, which is why I saw it as such a surprise. I was like, I feel like if CP3 were to get an MVP, this would be very similar to that Nash MVPs that he got, that were just like, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that he was necessarily the best player in the league, but it was like their team was running so well, and he was the orchestrator of the team.
Yeah.
He's the one making the team run, that they're
Right.
like, wow, we're so impressed. Here's the MVP, because everybody talks about it. Shaq talks about it. Rest in peace to his soul. Kobe, Kobe always talked about it. Now, those two MVPs, Nash. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really the best player in the league.
Yeah,
He just was.
no.
He just was on that great, studded, fast Suns team, and that's what got him That's what got him the MVP.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I also think that, not to get too in the woods here, but I do think that one of those, at least one, if not both, of those MVPs should have gone to Kobe. But he had his off-court troubles, so I don't think the league wanted to give him MVP at the time. But he deserved it, basketball-wise. You're talking basketball-wise, he deserved it. But no knock on Ash. I just think that it was kind of like, here's what was remaining. There you go. But,
Yeah.
I do agree that it would be just like that if they gave it to Chris Paul. But I don't even think the Suns are the best team in the league, and it's interesting because we talked about this last year. It would be really interesting if they maybe switch the MVP to somehow include the postseason as well, because like you look at Giannis, for example, like he was the MVP of the regular season, then got clapped in the postseason. Then it's just like, are you really the most valuable player in the league if you can't even get past the second round? You know what I mean? So it'd be interesting, because if CP3 got to the final in a packed Western Conference, then I'm like, oh, okay, maybe there is a case. But if it is just a regular season award, and I don't think CP3 is the one to get it, in my opinion.
So let me ask you a question, because you bring up a great point, saying that the postseason should be included in the award. So if they did include the postseason, don't you think that would take away from the Finals MVP award, like take away from the meaning, take away from the significance of it? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, in a way, yes. But you can almost make it like Finals MVP, because Finals MVP is really just who is the best player on the winning team. Like, you look at some of those Warriors versus Cavs series where LeBron was the best player on the court for a lot of those series, right? But he didn't win Finals MVP because the Cavs lost, because it was basically, LeBron and Matthew Dellavedova and Tristan Thompson against Curry, Clay, KD, Draymond, anybody. So yeah, LeBron's not going to win that fight. But yet he was still the best player on the court. You know what I mean? So I think that Finals MVP could almost just become like, hey, were you the MVP of strictly the finals? Or at least, were you the best player on the winning team? Did you lead your team to victory? You know what I mean? It could almost be like a medal, you know what I mean? Whereas winning MVP could be like a legit trophy, you know what I mean? I don't mean literally, I mean figuratively, right? Like, yeah. Because I know they both are a trophy that you physically hold, but I'm saying like figuratively, the Finals MVP is just a little like, you know what? Here's a pin. Good job, my guy. Whereas the MVP should be like, yeah, man, you really did this through the regular season, through the postseason, and you may not have won, but you were the best player in the NBA for this amount of time. You know what I mean? And I think that that is measured by postseason success, because we had this debate last season last podcast rather. No, not the last debate, 2 debates ago, man. Just so many debates coming out.
We're just busting all these debates out, man.
When we were talking about Steph Curry being an MVP, and it's just like, it's tough to be an MVP when you're 10th in the West. You know what I mean? When you're 10th in the conference, regardless of how we were playing. But, and I was having a debate with Nick about this as well. Shout out to the homie Nick. He's been on here. So you guys Nick, probably know what that is. But I was having a debate with Nick, and it's true. It's like the sense of the word. Who's the most valuable player, right? Like, he could have like the Warriors probably last in the league without Curry, right? But he can't. But the way that the MVP works is, kind of, you need to have success, team success, not just individual success, right? But like I said, I think the MVP should be kind of separate award from best player. Should be a best player and a most valuable player. And the most valuable player should be treated like we just said, who brings the most value to their team. Like LeBron when he came to the Lakers. Remember, with LeBron, fourth in the West, without LeBron, missing the playoffs. Like, that is a lot of value. And that's kind of where I'm getting at. But I digress, and I've gone far away from my point. I'm just saying I think MVP should include the postseason. And it's going to diminish the value of the finals MVP, but it's worth it in my opinion. It just gives a more holistic view. You know what I mean? Because then you're going to get Giannis's, like, great in the regular season, second round access in the postseason. Not really. Is that really the best player in the league?
I agree, and I think that's like such disrespect to the actual best player in the league, because like a LeBron, right? I mean, LeBron, of course, he's used to, like, I'm not gonna say getting slept on, but I guess like the league like mistreating him. Like, I'm not gonna say mistreating, because I mean they treat LeBron well, but they definitely like don't give LeBron as much leeway, I feel like, sometimes, as they give other players, but then at the same time they also give LeBron as much leeway.
I feel like I get what you're saying. I think that after he came to the Lakers,
it's more of the Lakers than they.
Yeah, I think after he came to the Lakers, he became this villain of the NBA, because when he was on the Cavs, like, and the Heat, his first Cavs run and his Heat run, I couldn't believe the things that he would get away with, right? And then
I'm not, his first Heat run, he was low-key a villain when he was how that black man.
I still feel like the league still loved him at that point, still, and I feel like after they had his second Cavs run on, and especially when he came to the Lakers, because like the most hated franchise, boom, they're like, nah, bro, that's enough. Luka, Zion, where you at? But I do hear you though, and I do agree with that. I think we share the same view on it.
Yeah, but let me move on to the next topic, Jenner. Let me ask you about the next thing on the agenda, and that's the Knicks. I've seen people talking about Knicks being a true playoff team, and I kind of want to ask you the question, like, do you see them as a true dangerous playoff team and a true playoff contender? Because much like the Hawks, a couple episodes ago, we talked about the Hawks and how we're not a believer, because just last year they were in last, and now all of a sudden they take this huge jump and to a much higher seeding. And same thing with the Knicks. The Knicks were like the laughing stock of the league last year, among the bottom teams, and now they're in fourth. They're in fourth place in the East.
Yeah.
Are they a true playoff team? Are they in true playoff contention? Do they really scare you as a playoff team?
Look, I don't think so. I think that maybe right. So right now they're in fourth and the Hawks are in fifth, like right now, this exact moment. But it's all back and forth. If standings stay that way, that means that the Knicks and the Hawks will play each other. Then maybe I can see the Knicks getting out of the first round. But I think if they run into a Celtics, a Sixers, a Nets, a Bucks, a Heat even, it's just going to be tough. Like, despite, them being fourth and the Heat being seventh, for example, like, I just don't think that they have the firepower to go up. In the playoffs is different. In the regular season, you're just accumulating wins, where in the playoffs is head-to-head for 4 to 7 games. It's just different basketball, you know what I mean? And then you have to also look like where are they all going to go? Because between fourth place and I'm looking here, 10th place, right? So between these two, it's about 6.5 games between fourth and 10th, right? Mm-hmm. And if you look just between fourth and sixth, which is where you get, or fourth and seventh, actually, where there's that first seed that you have to play a playing game, it's only 2 games, So it's like they could fall to imagine, for example, they fall to the play-in tournament and end up playing the Pacers. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to put them over the Pacers, maybe, but also maybe not, and it all depends. But I think that the Knicks would not make it past the second round, and they probably even make it to the second round as if they face, like the Hawks or maybe a little bit of an easier team. But it's hard to see them beating one of the top dogs in the East. What about you? What do you think, Josh?
I feel the same way, and I'm actually really happy that you said that because I listen to a bunch of podcasts, and I'm listening to the Woj podcast, right? And different NBA and different NBA analysis. I don't know.
Analysts. Yeah.
Different. I'm gonna edit that. Different NBA analysts. They come on, and they talk about all these different NBA teams. And I heard this one analyst say that the Knicks are a piece away from finals, a piece away from a championship. And I was just so like not I was just so mind blown because I'm not even ready to say that they're true playoff contenders. Like I don't think they would have an answer. I think that they would actually get swept by Philly, by Nets, by like the top dogs in the East. So that's why I was so confused and so like taken back by a statement like that.
Maybe when they said One Piece, they meant LeBron James or something.
Yeah, One Piece have to be LeBron. Yeah,
they have to be one big piece. But I do think that it's not not quite there for them yet. Who knows if maybe RJ and Obi Toppin and that team continues to develop, and they could be looking at having three superstars. I'm not saying I think RJ and Obi Toppin are going to be superstars. But if they do, then maybe then, but not now, not in 2021.
Definitely. All right. Well, Jenner, let's get to our let me first before we get our game started here. Let me review the pick the winner results from Monday. Unfortunately, you weren't able to be there, but don't lie. Let us know what you think you would have had. Don't lie like you want to get them all right. Don't lie. Don't lie.
100% record.
All right, so let me go through first and say which ones I had wrong or right. The Lakers versus Magic. Of course, I went with my Lake Show. I got that one right.
I would have picked that one too.
OKC versus 76ers. I had to go with that big guy over there in Philly, Joel. I got that one right. The Hawks versus the Pistons. I had to go with the Hawks. Got that one wrong. The Spurs versus the Wizards. I went with the Wizards. Bradley Beal and Westbrook been too hot. But I got that one wrong. The Knicks versus the Nuggets. I had the Knicks. Got that one wrong.
All right. That one's one I would have done different.
Yeah. Okay.
I would have gone with the Nuggets.
Sorry. Not versus Nuggets. Knicks versus Suns.
I would have gone with the Suns.
Suns. Okay. All right. So I picked Knicks on that one. I got that one wrong. Cavs versus Raptors. I went Cavs. I got that one wrong.
Raptors.
Bulls versus Heat. I went with the Bulls. I got that one right. Minnesota.
I would have been wrong on that one because I would have gone Heat.
Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Utah Jazz. What?
I said anybody. I'll pick against Minnesota.
You know what's crazy? I went with the Jazz too, and we were wrong. The Minnesota was 1-1. Clippers versus Pelicans. I had the Clippers. I was wrong on that.
Me too.
Nuggets versus Grizzlies. I had the Grizzlies. I was wrong on that. And the Mavericks versus the Kings. The Kings won. I was right on that.
Yeah. So I would have gotten. Well, go ahead.
I got a 4 out of 11. Unfortunately, a whopping F.
I didn't keep track of how many it was picked, but I had pretty much all equal to you except for the last few. So if you got 4, then it sounds like I got like 6, I think. So.
Okay. All right. Well, Junior, before we get to our Saturday, May 1st, pick the winners, let me get these little trivia questions out the way because let's see if we're real NBA Finals fan. I guess these questions are only about the NBA Finals. All right. So I guess that narrows it down, makes it a little easier for us. So question number 1, who is the first NBA player to win multiple NBA Finals MVP awards?
One is so my first instinct is Bill Russell, but I have a feeling it's somebody going to be like, oh, they didn't have Finals MVP awards before when Bill Russell was playing.
Funny that you said it. Every time I'm asked like who won the most of this, I usually just guess Kareem because Kareem just did the most of everything. But all right. So what's your guess? You got Wilt?
I'm gonna go with Bill Russell.
All right, that's a good guess just because he's been there so many times.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Kareem.
Okay.
Oh, go Willis Reed.
Oof.
We both got that one wrong. Ouch. All right.
Forgot about him. Okay.
All right. Next question. Which teams played in the 2011 NBA Finals? Come on, that's Miami Heat and the Mavs. That's easy.
Yes,
That's easy. Come on. Come on. That's cash. That's cash. 3. Okay. Number 3. Which team won the NBA championship in 1995? Come on, man.
The Rockets.
That's easy, man. Oh,
Houston Rockets.
Hakeem the Dream. Houston Rockets, baby. All right. Number 4. Which All-Star suffered a knee injury in the first game of the 2015 Finals, which caused him to miss the remaining series? Oh,
That was Kyrie Irving.
Nah, I think Kyrie. It was a toe injury, but 2015 because Kyrie.
Kevin Love.
Was it what? That was the Spurs year in the championship, right?
2015.
I think that was the Spurs. That was a year before. No, I'm tripping. That's the Warriors. That was the Warriors. Ah, man. I think you're right with Kyrie but I remember being his toe though. But I think you're right being Kyrie.
Go with Kyrie Irving.
Me too.
Watching not even be the Cavs.
Kyrie Irving. There we go. All right.
There we go.
All right. Last question. This one is easy
hold on. We're so far. We've only missed one. The first one, right?
Yeah, we only missed one.
Okay.
Last question. This one, I already read it. It's real easy. I'll say it. I want you to do the pleasures of answering this. Which team blew a 3-1 lead in 2016 NBA Finals, my brother?
That's the Warriors. Warriors with an L.
Hey, man. Oh, that's the Golden State Warriors. Hey, I don't think anybody who's a Warriors fan, anybody who's not a Warriors fan will never be able to live that down. The fact that they blew that 3-1 lead is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. The only time it happened in NBA Finals history. But the crazy part, too, is they overcame one against the Thunder. Right?
Exactly. That's how they got KD on their team.
I know. And then got one, right? So it's so crazy, right? Like how the NBA works.
What goes around comes around. But all right, Junior. So I guess we can consider ourselves real NBA Finals fans since we got 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5, 80%.
That's right there. That's 80%.
Which is right. They want me to brush up on Willis Reed.
All right, so let's move on to our favorite segment, which is the pick the winners. Junior, on Saturday, May 1st, these are the games. Right. You want me to go through each team and then you tell me the answer right away?
Yeah, let's do that. Right. I'm gonna tell you the matchups right away.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, we got the Pistons versus the Hornets.
I'm going with the Hornets.
I'm going with the Hornets on that one too.
Okay.
We got the Warriors versus the Rockets.
I'm going with the Warriors.
I'm going with the Warriors on that one too. They're fighting for that play-in spot. Every win's necessary.
Hey, but they just lost to the Timberwolves, by the way.
Oh,
that's a tough loss when you're fighting for spots.
Just kidding.
Huh?
I just brought the 3-1 lead. you know, people bring up 3-1 lead for nothing. All right, next team we got the Bulls versus the Hawks. I got the Hawks on that one.
I'm going with the Hawks too.
Yeah, the Bulls let me down last time. Magic versus the Grizzlies.
That's the third strike, by the way. Because they're on 2 strikes right now, right?
They're on 2 strikes because
I know you said on the last spot. I heard it. I know you said Vooch. Yeah. He's on his second strike.
Hey, Vooch, you got one more. Vooch. I'm not going to be playing with you. Magic versus the Grizzlies, Junior.
I'm going with the Grizzlies. They got to snag out every win. I think they should be able to beat the Magic.
Cavaliers versus the Heat, the old LeBron teams.
I'm going with the Heat. They got to get this. They got to get the wins. They're in 7th place right now. They got to keep fighting.
I'm going with the Cavs on now. I'm going to upset alert. OKC versus the Pacers.
I'm going with the Pacers.
I'm going with the Pacers down on that one as well. Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Pelicans.
Pelicans.
The Wizards versus the Mavs.
You got Pelicans too?
Oh yeah, I got Pelicans as well.
I got Wizards versus Mavs. Oh, that's a tough one, man. Because Wizards have been hot, and The
Both
Mavs,
teams need it.
yeah, both teams need it, and the Mavs actually dropped the game to the Kings, and then they beat the Pistons today, but barely. They were down actually with about like 2 or 3 minutes to go, and then came back and went on a little run and won by 10. But I got a feeling I'm gonna go Wizards here. What about you?
I'm happy. I'm happy you're rocking with me because I'm going Wizards because Luka has a hard time guarding fast guards like Westbrook. So I got to go with the Wizards, and Bradley Beal's going to eat no matter what. Raptors versus Jazz. I got the Jazz.
Me too.
Okay. Clippers versus Nuggets.
I'm trying to think. I'm gonna go Nuggets.
I'm going Clippers on that one.
Okay.
All right. Hey, so let me ask you a question, Jenner. What do you think is Saturday night prime time game? What you think is the best game here? Which game you think is going to be the best?
Best game here. I'm gonna say Nuggets Clippers. Actually, they're both.
Me too.
That's third versus fourth. I think that even without Murray, the Nuggets are doing well. They still got Jokic, they still got Michael Porter Jr., they still got Aaron Gordon. They're playing pretty well. So I'm gonna go Nuggets Clippers. I think it'll be a primetime game.
That's gonna be a primetime game, but just to give a different answer, I gotta go with the Wizards versus Mavs because that's also gonna be that we both need a team and we gotta grind this out. We got a dog like Westbrook. We know it's gonna be a good one, man.
Yes, sir.
But there you have it, though, everybody. This is Saturday, May's first Hidden Takes. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're at, man. Share this, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your mom's friends, tell your dad, tell your neighbor, tell your cousin, tell whoever, man. Tell your dog. Tell them that
Dogs
Clutch
love
Talk is
Clutch
here.
Talk, by the way. I
They
did
do love Clutch Talk.
My dogs love Clutch Talk.
Yeah. Okay.
Dogs
Yeah.
love
Perfect.
Clutch Talk.
So now we know that dogs love Clutch Talk. You guys love Clutch Talk. So let's all join the family. Subscribe, man, and run it up, man. Because as we know, playoffs is around the corner, and that's the time when we ramp it up, man. Because we love the playoffs.
Ooh-wee!
That's it, man. So thank you guys, everybody, for watching. We love you guys. Jenner, man, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Be out of here. Clutch Talk out.
Peace.